Motorbikes are awesome. We've established that. But I wanted to delve into, why do we ride? What is it that makes us choose to pick motorcycling as a sport or a form of transport? It's not the obvious choice, it's not the default choice. What is it? What is that one thing that gets everyone out on two wheels, regardless of whether you're a sports bike rider, an adventure rider, an off-road rider? Is there one thing that gets all of us ticking, that makes us ride bikes? There are lots of different types of bikes and lots of reasons to ride them. You've got sports bikes where you kind of ride them for a buzz, for a thrill, for going fast and a bit of an adrenaline rush. The same goes for racing and track days. When you ride stuff like that, it's about that buzz. It's about scaring yourself a bit and getting away with it. It's kind of that feeling of almost dying. That sounds dramatic, but that is the buzz there. And then you've got adventure bikes where there's this aspiration to travel, to explore, to see the world, but not also go too far. Sometimes just to explore one area really well, on-road, off-road, tackle any terrain, that kind of I can go anywhere vibe. Then you've got touring bikes, which kind of do the same thing, but without going off-road. Big miles, covering ground, traveling, seeing new places, and that feeling of, I'm 2,000 miles from home and I only left this morning. And then there are bikes like classics where these are more a two-way thing. You don't just get on it and have the experience. You've got to earn the experience. You've got to put the hours in working on it. You've got to understand the bike. You've got to listen to it and notice when things are going wrong and deal with them before something falls off, you've got no brakes and you go through a hedge. There's a lot more involved in keeping them running, and there's a sort of two-way street in riding. And then there's off-road bikes. You've got things like trials bikes, which are about building skills and doing strange balancing things that you didn't think you could do on two wheels. You've got enduro bikes, which as far as I can tell are about punishment and being hurt and tired and sweaty. I'm kidding there, but they're about pushing yourself physically and mentally to your absolute limits in horrible, hard terrain and tackling muddy bogs that nobody else would go anywhere near. But in all of these different types of bikes, in all of these different types of people that ride them, there's like an underlying thing that just being on the bike is good. And I'd love to know what the bottom line is. What is it that makes being on a motorcycle feel so good? Because there are bikes that don't have a category particularly. They don't ask anything of you. They don't want you to be this guy with a beautiful big bushy beard and awesome tattoos. They don't want you to be the fastest person around a racetrack. They don't want you to have a million patches down your arm and hero stories of all your worldly travels. There are bikes that literally just are bikes. They don't ask anything of you. They're probably the purest form of motorcycling. You just get on them and ride, and the thrill, the enjoyment out of that is just being out riding your bike. You're not trying to go fast around corners, you're not trying to overtake everyone, you're not trying to go really far, you're just enjoying that feeling of controlling something that needs your help. If you leave a motorcycle in a car park on its own with the side stand up, it falls over. It needs us. They need us to stay upright. And that feeling of control, of exposure, of slight danger compared to being in a car, that connection with the fact that the road matters. In a car, you might notice the road's bumpy, you might not. On a bike, you need to know where the gravel is, where the potholes are, whether that shiny bit of tarmac's going to be grippy or not. When you go around a corner, if you clip a cat's eye, you feel it. You smell the cow poo in the air before you see the tractor. You feel the change in the weather before the rain hits you. And when the rain hits you, it hits you. You feel it. You get cold, you get wet, you get hot. Motorbikes immerse you in the environment so much more than pretty much any other form of transport. And outside of all the different disciplines, outside of all the different reasons that people ride bikes, outside of all the different things that you are inspired by or class as cool, I think underlying all of it, motorcycles are the most personal experience you can have as a form of transport or a hobby. You're exposed. You need to improve your skills every time you ride. You need good skills to stay alive on them. And what you get back is immersion in the ride, the environment, the road, and a huge family of friends. Which sounds like a cliched thing, but if you pull up anywhere on a motorcycle, sooner or later someone will come over and say, I've got a bike, I had a bike, I want a bike, and you've started a conversation. That doesn't happen in a Ford Fiesta. No disrespect to probably Britain's most popular family car, but it just doesn't. Motorcycles are such a conversation starter, and they bring people together. And I think that is universal across every type of motorcycle. And I think that brings us right back round to my point at the beginning. Bikes are awesome. There's nothing better. Let's take this Kawasaki Eliminator behind me. It's, if you were going to categorize it, it's probably a middleweight cruiser, I'd say, maybe. A bit of a bobbery look to it. It's got a style to it, but it's not a bike I would have picked up and ridden. It's not a bike that's been on my radar. And actually, having had it and ridden it for a few weeks now, I think the reason it isn't is because there's no one thing. It doesn't make me want to go out and do a sports bike ride. It doesn't make me want to go and do adventure riding. It doesn't make me want to roar down a straight with a big V-twin engine and the sun in my hair. But I have loved riding it. And I've loved riding it because it doesn't expect anything of you. It doesn't ask you to be the fastest person here. It doesn't ask you to be the coolest person here. It doesn't ask you to go the furthest. It just asks you to go for a ride. And I really, really like that about it. It's a very, very honest bike. It's comfy. It's got enough power to pass the traffic. It's smooth enough that you can sit on the motorway at a decent speed. It hardly drinks any fuel and it doesn't cost the earth. On top of all that, I do think it looks pretty cool. There's a lot going for it that probably doesn't meet the eye at first. Straight away, super low seat height. So all those people who are nervous about not being able to get their feet down, I can tell them till I'm blue in the face that you only have to put one foot down, but that doesn't matter. If you're nervous about it, what you want is a bike you can reach the floor on. Super low seat height makes that really, really easy. It is a really comforting thing for a lot of people to be able to get both feet firm on the ground. This bike, great for that. On top of that, the lightest clutch on the planet. A super easygoing engine that's a little bit Jekyll and Hyde like some of these Kawasaki parallel twins tend to be. It's got this sort of doof, 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 easy, super nurturing low down power. And then you realize there's like, oh, there's a second half to the rev counter where they scream and go absolutely nuts, which is kind of a weird thing on this style of bike. But then again, when you're having a mad 5 minutes, it's great. And it feels like you're on a sports bike. You're going, rah, 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 snapping up and down the gears, and it puts a huge smile on your face. It's probably one of the easiest bikes I've ever ridden in terms of the seat height, the light clutch, the easy throttle, the nature of the engine. You can just get on and go. Then when you start getting into the lanes, there's an art to riding it. You've got to manage the ground clearance. It's not got miles of ground clearance. You can't just pitch it in and just keep leaning and hoping for the best. You have to sort of get a nice smooth line through the turn, lean till you just feel the foot peg start to touch, and then pick the throttle up and drive it out again. With a bit of body movement, you can corner a bit faster by hanging off further. And actually, on some great roads this week, I've had a really fun time on it because that revvy little engine has had kind of enough power and excitement to keep me entertained. And then riding, balancing that ground clearance has actually been a new challenge, something that I've found on cruisery style bikes before, and I end up really enjoying. Then when you're done doing that, bobbing through town, stuck in traffic in some of the little villages up in the hills where you have to go 20 and you can't really pass anyone, it's nice. It's just easy to trundle along out looking at the scenery and have a more leisurely ride. It isn't a sports bike, but you can have fun riding good roads on it without having to be knee down everywhere. That's something I've really enjoyed on it. Smooth, easy, and actually a pretty cool looking thing. It might not be the top of everyone's super I want when I'm older, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to save up and I'm going to buy one of them list, but as an affordable bike that rides well, looks cool, and puts a smile on your face, I think there's a lot to be said for it. Don't get me wrong, I do still like riding flat out. I do still like doing stupid things on motorcycles, and you can do it on this. It's not super keen on it, but it will party. If you go to any motorcycle meet, if you go to any cafe, any place where motorbikes gather, there's always a few of these kicking around. There's always a few kind of subtle bikes, and you probably walk past them without noticing them. But the people there are people who just want a motorbike. They're not trying to be a sports bike rider. They're not the ones talking loudly about how fast they went down the dual carriageway on the way there. They're not the ones covered in mud and stomping muddy boots all the way up to the bar. It's usually me. They're people who just want to ride a motorbike, and they're probably going to ride it once or twice a week, and they're going to enjoy it every time they do. There's something wonderfully simple and honest about that. Just riding bikes. It's flipping awesome. So next time you're trying to find the motivation to go out on a bike, next time you're thinking, oh, I haven't been out for a few weeks, stop chasing that need to fulfill an Instagram page, and stop chasing that need to feel like you've gone really fast around these bends. Actually, that'll come. If you're having a good day, you'll have a good ride and you'll find some good bends. But the motivation for getting out on your bike should just be that feeling of the minute you lift your foot up and roll away, of everything balancing, everything being together, and you're just completely focused on the road, the ride, the traffic, and gears. That for me is the most pure bit of motorcycling.